Let me know when you're ready.
Oh, you're good. You can start whenever. Yeah.
Ready on that side? Good afternoon. Thank you for being here and for getting the update as we deal with Deb and his aftermath. Let me say this to all of Chatham County. Again, we are blessed and highly favored. All right. What was predicted to come our way, we got a majority of it, but we didn't get the brunt. And so a lot of the flooding and things that we had prepared for, remember on day before yesterday, Sunday and Monday, I said to you all that we're preparing ourselves for the worst, working ourselves back to the best. And so we didn't get as much as we thought we would get, but I'm so grateful that all the municipalities and their staff were prepared for the worst. And then we were able to work into those areas. Now, as we do go through this press conference today, I've asked municipalities and managers to give you, there are some areas that we're gonna need folks to stay away from. We're taking off the curfew for the day, all right? There will be no more curfew, but there are some areas that were hit harder than others. And so we're going to identify those areas. And because we have crews working in there, because we have to have equipment in there, we want to ask the general public to avoid those areas and avoid interfering with the work that must be done to recuperate from the storm. We have everyone here from the state level all the way down to speak to us. And so at this time, I'm going to call on the Director of SEMA, who's going to give us the general updates and the mandates, and then we'll go from there. Dennis?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I do want to reiterate the Chairman's direction that we are not having a curfew tonight. The atmospheric conditions are such that we feel that it's not warranted. But if at any time we feel that there are areas that need to be warned off, we will certainly do that through our law enforcement entities. As the Chairman mentioned, there are several areas throughout the community that have sustained flooding, have had water encroachments into communities, and we want to make sure that we are advertising at least some of those high-profile areas to try and keep citizens away from those areas so we can make sure that we are maximizing our response efforts. In the unincorporated areas of Chatham County, we got Wilmington Island Road. The southern end of the island has water and also power lines down, which Georgia Power is working feverishly to get those reestablished. The Isle of Hope area has some flooding on Richmond Drive. We want to try and stay clear of that. There are some trees down, some power lines down on Tulahee Island, and also Greenview and Southbridge is flooded out. So we will have emergency response crews responding to those areas, as well as other areas that become identified to make sure that we are maximizing our response efforts. We do have 3 municipalities with us today that are going to talk about the areas in their municipalities, and I will defer those areas to them as they get up here. We are currently under a tropical storm warning, a flash flood warning, and also a flood watch. We currently have 3 shelters activated within Chatham County. One is at Tompkins. It currently has 32 clients in it. One at Civic Center has 66 clients. And fortunately, we do have the in-market arena, but we don't have anyone sheltered at the in-market arena at this time. So we're thankful for that. So we will remain operational in our Emergency Operations Center as long as we are under a tropical storm warning. Most likely it will be dropped at some point, hopefully overnight, or they may downgrade us to a tropical storm watch. But as long as we are under a threat from Debbie, we will certainly keep the Emergency Operations Center activated so we can respond to any issues that come about throughout the county. So I would like to invite up Congressman Carter for some statements from his office.
Well, thank you, Dennis, and thank all of you for being here. Let me begin by just complimenting and applauding all of the emergency personnel throughout the 1st Congressional District, but particularly today here in Chatham County. What you've seen here is an exercise in cooperation and coordination, and it's really been a case study in how things should be done. And I can't speak highly enough of the great job that they've done. All the agencies pulling together, working together in synchrony and making sure that everyone is on the same page. That is so vitally important in situations like this. I want to encourage everyone, we need to stay vigilant. As Dennis told you, we still have some flash flooding out there. We still have some warnings that are out. It's very important. I also want to point out that we are early in the season, in the hurricane season. This is probably not the last storm we're going to have this year. So we need to keep that in mind as well. But we are not out of the woods yet. So let's make sure that we follow the instructions that are being given to us. There's information that you get on our website that will give you information that can be useful. buddycarter.house.gov/hurricanes. That's information that you'll be able to use. Yesterday, I led a delegation letter, a bipartisan letter from our Georgia delegation to the White House, asking the president to honor the request of Georgia Governor Brian Kemp to have our area named an emergency declaration imposed here. That was approved last night by the president. We're glad of that. That's going to be very important in the cleanup, making sure that we have disaster efforts and cleanup efforts here in our district. I encourage all of you, whatever you may need, please make sure that you go to our website, again, buddycarter.house.gov/hurricanes. There'll be information there, or you're welcome to call our office. Our office number here in Savannah, 912-352-0101. Our office number in Brunswick, 912-265-0910. We'll be glad to help you in any way we can. Again, I want to thank everyone involved, particularly Chatham EMA, for the great job that they've done in coordinating and making sure that everyone is on the same page here. They have literally saved lives and saved property as a result of their great work. And I always tell people, in the 1st District of Georgia, we got the best of the best right here. This is not our first rodeo. We've been through this before. And you can tell by the coordination, by the cooperation. So thank you. And again, don't let our guard down. Let's stay vigilant.
Thank you, Congressman Carter. You mentioned the best of the best, and with that, I'd like to introduce our GEMA partner, our Georgia Emergency Management Agency representatives. We've been in lockstep with GEMA since Saturday, early Saturday morning, and they've actually had a staff member embedded in our Emergency Operations Center since Sunday. And we are extremely thankful for the support of the Georgia Emergency Management Agency. With that, we do have Deputy Director Mr. Sexton, who's going to offer a few remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Mark Sexton, one of the Deputy Directors at Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency. Just want to express our appreciation for the coordination. Our job is to basically synchronize intergovernmental agencies at the state level and bring federal resources down to the county level, and we've been able to successfully do that. Congressman, we appreciate the support in getting that declaration out of the President and through the Federal Emergency Management Agency, so that has turned a lot of federal resources available to us for the response work that we have going on. It's been a very successful engagement so far. We've had several staff members embedded at the county level up and down the coast and a little bit inland as well with some of those other affected counties. One of the issues with this specific event is the flooding associated with the large volumes of rain that have come down. And they've not only come down here right along the coast, but there's been a lot of inland rainfall as well. As everybody understands, that water's got to go somewhere. So it's going to be making its way down to the coast over the next few days. Hopefully the storm will continue to track on up the coastline through the Carolinas and go away. There's still a slight chance of it coming back inland in an area that may impact more rainfall here in Savannah, but that is not likely at this point, but it is still a possibility. So we ask everyone to maintain your vigilance. Don't let your guard down yet. But again, I appreciate the cooperation that we always have with the Savannah and Chatham County team and all the associated municipalities that are here. Y'all are always great teammates, always welcome our staff in, and coordination that we're able to do together. So thank you very much.
Before I bring up the municipalities, I do have another note here. Just so the media is aware, 2 semi-truck tractor trailers, there was a collision at I-95 near Little Neck Road. No injuries have been reported that we are aware of right now. Pooler Police Department is handling the accident with Chatham County Police Department assisting. Traffic is being counterflowed on I-95 towards 204. So I mentioned earlier, excuse me, I mentioned earlier that we have 3 of our municipalities represented here today. I am going to invite them up to ask them to explain to you what their operational tempo is for today and tomorrow, as well as identify any particular areas which need to be isolated or avoided for the general community. So I'll invite up City of Savannah, and then Pooler, and then Port Wentworth in that order.
Thank you, Dennis, and to everyone, good afternoon. We thank God, period. Certainly, as bad as it could have been, it certainly could have been worse. We're grateful for things as they are. We received thoughts and prayers from around the nation. Yesterday, I heard from the White House that called asking about anything they could do. And obviously, they did what we asked them to do, which was to be able to approve whatever request came our way. We also were hosting the Vice President here on Friday on a campaign stop. And obviously, we all agree this is just not the time to do it. This has been postponed. She sends her regards, and any way that she can help, she wants to do that as well. This has been absolutely a team effort. I am grateful for the leadership of FEMA, our partners in Chatham County, the school board, and neighboring municipalities. Over the last 24 hours, we've seen significant rain and flooding and debris in our area. We knew this was going to be a bad storm. And I'm so grateful to the dedicated members of Team Savannah and others who have put up the hours to ensure the safety of all our residents. I joined Team Savannah, Savannah Fire, and Savannah Police as we made rescues today in the Tremont Park neighborhood, which is in the west side. These folks are experiencing severe flooding. They're experiencing some structural flooding, and this water is not going anywhere anytime soon. But I am pleased to report that these folks are okay, and we have moved some of them that wanted to go. There's no doubt these storms are getting more powerful and more. It's imperative that we remain vigilant. The city of Savannah concurs that there's no need for a curfew tonight, but if there's a barricade there, the barricade is there for a reason. And I know personally I've pulled over some folks because they're trying to move the barricade. If the barricade is there, the barricade is there for people's safety. And you don't know until you get beyond it where the danger is. And so the city manager will talk a little bit more about that. We urge you to call 311 to report downed trees and flooded roadways. We have the Savannah 311 app, which is a very useful tool. We want to keep 911 clear for actual emergencies. So 311 is a very valuable service, and we ask you to use 311 if you can. And of course, Georgia Power is here down power lines. Our crews out there, they're working. They're clearing trees, they're clearing stormwater drainage systems, they're monitoring stormwater pumps and sewer lift stations that are all up and running, and they're responding as needed to the places that they need to the most. We're asking that you extend us some grace. It's been a long 30 hours, and some of us have been on the field all 30 hours. And so we're asking that we'll get to you, but we're not going to stop until we're finished. You can find out more information about the city of Savannah regarding the storm at savannahga.gov/Debbie, savannahga.gov/Debbie, and we'll continue to update that website. I'm going to ask the city manager at this time to provide operational updates regarding our operations from today for the rest of the week.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. This is Jay Melder, City Manager, City of Savannah. Good to be with you this afternoon. To echo what the mayor and the congressman, the chairman said, the storm's not over, still need to be diligent and want to make folks aware of some geographic areas of concern within the city of Savannah, places to stay away from, places that our crews are working to bring down the water. Of course, we have elevated water levels remaining in Tremont Park neighborhood. Mayor Johnson spoke of. We have 37 homes there that are impacted by floodwaters, 5 of which have structural flooding, but as the mayor said, we've had no injuries yet, and we've been able to serve those residents, and we're with them right now, and will continue to be throughout the event. We also have elevated water levels at White Bluff Road near Savannah Tech, Ogeechee Road, just off of I-516, Magazine Avenue north of Gwinnett Street, Liberty Heights Drive, Staley Avenue between 48th and 51st Street, 42nd Street at Ogeechee Road, 51st Street at Hopkins, and the water is high and adjacent to the roadway at Eisenhower between Sallymood and Truman Parkway, Staley Avenue north of Ogeechee Road, and near the intersection of Ogeechee Road and Victory Drive. I want to stress that all of our pump stations are operational. They're in the fight, and they're continuing to pump water out of the canals and into the Savannah River. But of course, we're going to take many tide cycles to get all of the water that's come down in the Savannah area, and that will continue to come into our area from rainfall that's fallen around the area for the next several days. And the thing that I want to stress is we all know we're saturated with water now. We're expecting several more inches over the next 12 to 24 hours, and so we want folks to remain vigilant. To stay in contact with us, please call 311. Be aware of what's happening on your street and what's happening with your neighbors. And we are going to be out in force throughout the day and throughout the night to attend to our stormwater management system, which is right now our #1 mission. For tomorrow, the city of Savannah will be operating under a modified operation schedule. Non-essential functions will be closed, but we will be expanding our essential functions, especially trying to get some of our sanitation and some of our street and debris cleared out tomorrow. Most of our other public works staff and certainly our public safety personnel, they've been working 24/7 since the event began Monday and will continue to, but please be on the lookout for more information from savannahga.gov about our operations tomorrow. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mary Karen Williams from the great city of Pooler. And I'm here along with our interim city manager, Matt Saxon, who I'd like to start making his way over here, and our EOC representative, Rachel Brown. Thank you so much for your support. We are here to recognize and thank the fantastic job that SEMA has done under the leadership of Dennis Jones. As a new mayor, your leadership and knowledge have been invaluable to me, as well as the knowledge from our city and staff. I would also like to express my sincere gratitude and appreciation to Pooler's Public Works Department, Critical Workforce, Pooler Fire Department, and Pooler Police Department for such a phenomenal job during the weather event. I am so proud of you all. Now I would like to hand this over to our interim city manager, Matt Saxon, for him to give you an operational brief and our closures. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I think City Manager Melder said it best with the areas we have flooded. Please stay away from them. I'll give you some areas in Pooler that we have that we need to ask our citizens to please stay away from. Gentry Street, Tappan Zee Street, Brighton Woods at the Grove. These are areas that are public streets that are impassable right now because of the amount of water we have in them. We also have 2 private neighborhoods that also have roads that are inundated. One would be Forest Lakes Drive and one over at Savannah Quarters. So if you would, please be mindful for the neighbors that have water very close to their house. Please be mindful of how you travel through those areas for those of y'all that are going to travel in the water. Be careful not to add water into their yard where we don't need it. Once again, thank you for SEMA on the great job y'all been doing. City of Pooler, our staff is closed tomorrow. Public Works is out working. All departments are being recognized and all departments are working. So if you have any Public Works needs, feel free to give us a call at Public Works. We can handle any needs out there. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Good afternoon. I'm Steve Davis. I'm the city manager in Port Wentworth. I want to echo what everybody's already said about the cooperation of this leadership team and Dennis Jones and his team at SEMA. But beyond that, obviously the staff in Public Works that have been out, all night long in the rain, working to clear the roads. I'm very happy to report that Port Wentworth, our floodgates worked perfectly. We had multiple road closures for flooding yesterday. We got 8.5 inches of rain in Port Wentworth, and all of those roads are now reopened. Georgia Power has been on the scene out there. We've got our power restored, I think 99.9%. Bonnie Bridge Road is reopened now. GDOT has cleared that. The washout sustainability is fine on that road, and all the power poles have been removed from the roadway. So in Port Wentworth, we're doing great work. And again, I really want to thank the guys that have been out on the street all night in the rain, working, keeping our roads cleared, cleaning storm drains. And all of our wastewater treatment plant and our sewer system is operating fine. Lift stations have all been checked and are running properly. So thank you for having us, and I'm glad to report that.
Thank you all. To wrap up the information updates on the remaining municipalities and other critical partners, Chatham County, I'll let Mr. Kegler define what our operational tempo is, unless you'd like for me to do that. Okay. So we're going to follow suit, similar to what City of Savannah is going to do. The county will be closed tomorrow. All non-essential services will not be in operation. Our essential services, mostly sanitation, public works, being able to get out on the street, clear those roads, being able to respond to those critical areas in which we need to mitigate or we need to handle the floodwaters in those areas. We'll be addressing those, as well as essential services such as police, fire. We'll make sure that we are operating those on a regular basis tomorrow. Bloomingdale, the city of Bloomingdale is going to be closed. They will likewise have essential services on the street, doing any cleanup that needs to take place. Garden City, same posture, they will be closed. Thunderbolt, Tybee Island will be closed as well. As the Board of Education has already mentioned, they will be closed tomorrow, and the superintendent has asked me to pass on that she is thankful for the efforts of the Command Policy Group. Her inclusion into that has been instrumental in the Board of Education's decision-making, as well as making sure that the members of the Command Policy Group are aware of what the Board of Education does, so we can be informed in our decision-making as well. The Health Department is planning to be closed tomorrow as well. There is a judicial emergency that was just issued earlier today. Judge Penny Friesman has issued a judicial emergency, which will also close the courthouse for tomorrow. And CAT has suspended services for tomorrow due to the frequency and the amount of roads that are impacted throughout the area. So that is an update on all the municipalities and some other critical partners. We have mentioned several times about power. So we do have Mr. William Mock with Georgia Power here. I'd like to invite him up to talk about electricity.
Good afternoon. I'd like to give everyone an update on Georgia Power's outages and restoration efforts. Since Hurricane Debbie's impacts began to be felt, the company has restored power to over 100,000 customers across the state. Specifically here in Savannah, as of 3 p.m. today, we have roughly 1,400 customers that are out of power, and that represents about 112 separate events. A team of about 450 Georgia Power employees and contract resources remain in the field and are working behind the scenes here in the Savannah area, assisting with our restoration efforts. We are responding as quickly and as safely as possible to restore service. Some areas, as you heard, are inaccessible. We are mobilizing specialized equipment that will help us reach these areas in order to perform damage assessments, as well as to begin restoration activities. We are currently anticipating to have 95% of the current outages online, power restored by midnight tonight. While restoration efforts continue, I'd like to remind you of a few safety items. Please never touch any downed or low-hanging wires. Never pull limbs off of power lines. If you see a fallen limb on a power line or a line down, please report to Georgia Power. And lastly, if you see Georgia Power crews or contract crews working on the side of the road, please slow down and pull over to allow them safe space to work in. I do want to say thank you to the wonderful cooperation Georgia Power experiences with SEMA, with our City of Savannah and Chatham County leadership. They're absolutely instrumental in helping us do what we do. Thank you.
And to wrap it all up, before I turn it over to the chairman, I do want to reemphasize, we will keep the Emergency Operations Center activated. It will be activated as long as we are in a tropical storm warning. If it's downgraded to a tropical storm watch, we will still remain activated in the Emergency Operations Center. In the EOC, we do have representatives from the municipalities. We've got Georgia Department of Transportation, Georgia Powers in our EOC. We've got the Georgia National Guard in our EOC. So we've got a variety of different state and federal partners staffing the Emergency Operations Center with us so that we can maintain situational awareness throughout the county as well as maximize our response efforts. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the chairman for final comments.
Let me begin by ending this with letting you know that it's very rewarding to me when you plan your work and you work your plan and things come together as they have come together with this. And let me start by saying to Congressman Carter, and we have Mr. Young from Senator Warnock's office, and we have Crystal, who was here from Senator Ossoff's office. They're going to the president and getting the declaration done. And then we have to give credit to the governor, right, who was in our stead that we have stayed in constant contact with. So you had the federal, the state, and all of the locals all working together in harmony to make things better for the citizens here. And as I said from the very beginning of my administration, there's only one Chatham. Right? So it does not matter which level we're working on, we're still working on the one Chatham model, where we all come together to take care of the needs of the citizens here in Chatham County. And one of the things, the unsung hero that we have not mentioned is we have Chief Taylor, all right, and some of the folks from the Sheriff Department, and the invaluable role that they have played, all right, when they have had to take some of their offices to cover for the rest of us as we deal with these storms, as we deal with things that are going. And I want to echo lastly what Congressman Carter said. We've only just begun, all right, because we know we're in the midst of the hurricane season, and so we want all of the citizens of Chatham County to stay prepared. Right, this command policy group, which covers the whole county, we come together, we make decisions, and we make decisions based upon the information that we have through the EOC Center, and we keep things working so that all of our citizens are prepared. So from the Sheriff Department, from the courthouse, from all of the county staff, the city staff, all of the municipality staff, we just thank you for what you've done and how you show that it can be done when we all come together on one accord, all right? With that, if there's any question from the media for any one of us, we'll open it up to you.
Yes, a question for Mr. Melder. Sir, do you have any further parking recommendations from yesterday? And what is the status of the city's parking garages?
So currently, the parking garages are open and parking is still free for anyone who wants to park, and that'll remain that way tomorrow as well. Again, you know, we're not out of the storm yet. There's going to be some more rain. So if folks want to, you know, move their car to drier ground or to higher ground, those garages are still available. The first floor of the downtown garages are going to be closed because we can see flooding there and we don't have to park the car in those garages. But those will remain open and free for parking tomorrow as well.
And are there any specific areas downtown that you advise that people still avoid?
Well, I think downtown is looking pretty good, but of course, if we see 1 to 2 inches of rain and we see it come down quick, downtown and those streets and intersections are going to see water like we normally do on a summer thunderstorm. So just be vigilant about the rainfall. We were driving around downtown just before we got here. It looks pretty good. I think the places that we're concerned about are the places that I read out earlier and we'll have available on our website. But again, it's really about making sure that we watch the rainfall. And if we see a couple more inches fall, we've got to be vigilant about that. This is a stormwater management mission. And right now, we're trying to pump out as much water as we can in our canal so we can take any additional water that falls.
Anyone else?
Question for Mayor Johnson regarding the water rescues. Were they pedestrian related or were they vehicle related? And how many water rescues were there out in Tremont Park today?
And Jay, help me if I'm wrong, I believe since 12 o'clock yesterday, there were about 20. Yesterday, most of them were cars that had become overcome with water. The ones I participated in today were actually residential. The ones today were really more residential. Yesterday was more residential.
And no one was hospitalized, correct?
With that, let me say to the general public, please, 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 if you see that water standing, don't drive in it, all right? Your car is not a boat. It's not, it will float though, all right? Please do not think that you can make it through there, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna have to get stalled and we're gonna have to pull resources that need work to be done to cover for you, because you decided that you could make it and you can't, all right? So please, please, govern yourselves accordingly. Help us help you by not taking the chance that you can make it. If you think you can make it, you can't make it, all right? You're not gonna make it through that water, because number one, you don't know how deep it is, and the next thing you know, it's gonna flow in the car with you. So you have a buddy riding with you. I'm just glad, yesterday I saw it, and you know, Dennis said on Sunday, that we're gonna have creatures coming out, all right? So I'm glad we didn't have the alligator crossing the street like they did over in Hilton Head, all right? Because they had to pull over and let him go by. But we did have some where folks have to be careful, all right? There were snakes that come up that folks didn't know snakes were gonna be in their yard, all right? But the snakes are in their yard because they're looking for higher ground too. We want everybody to be safe. We wanna work through all the details, and again, let me say we are so grateful to FEMA, we're so grateful to GEMA, and we're so grateful to SEMA. Those are our head-up agencies that we feed all the information. They make sure that we have all the proper information in real time, and it can cause all of us to do the work we need to do when we need to do it. Again, we thank you, and it may now, from this point on, what may happen is that we may send out press releases through PIO, okay, rather than calling back, because things are tapering down, but if they swing different, then we have to do something different. So all this is being done in real time, okay, and it's for us to make sure that we keep the public informed on what's going on and how it's being done. And again, let me say, I want to thank Congressman Carter, all right, who is here. We want to thank Senator Ossoff, who has his representative here, and Senator Warnock, they have their representative here. I want to thank all of our folks, our Chatham delegation, okay, because they had to play a part in this, and Dean Stevens, all right, on down to all the elected officials, and to the general public. If something is wrong, if you see something wrong, say something, rather than trying to do it yourself. Because if you grab the wrong limb, fire it with one of the wires down on it, we'll be in bad shape. But right now, everything is safe, all right? We have been able to help those areas where flooding went into folks' homes, flood went into folks' cars, and so we're still vigilant. We're still looking, because the storm has not left us alone. All right, so we have to make sure that we are prepared to continue the journey. Thank you again, and have a blessed day.
Y'all ready? All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for attending the 11 a.m. press conference for Chatham County and its municipalities. I would like to give you an update on the storm. On the graphic behind me, you see the 11 a.m. update for Hurricane Debbie. Overnight, it did become a hurricane. It made landfall this morning on the panhandle of Florida. It is currently making its way across the panhandle of Florida. It's anticipated to arrive in Georgia as far as the center of circulation sometime overnight into Tuesday. So we are preparing for that. We do have an emergency declaration in place, not only from the state, but we also have the county's emergency declaration in place. We have 4 municipalities who have likewise issued an emergency declaration as well. The city of Tybee Island, the city of Savannah, the city of Pooler, and the city of Port Wentworth all have emergency declarations in place as well. So currently, we do have our Emergency Operations Center activated. We are monitoring the current conditions as well as the anticipated conditions of Hurricane Debbie as it makes its way across southeast Georgia. We are anticipating that we will go into a tropical storm. Well, we will remain in a tropical storm warning at least through tomorrow afternoon. We are also in a storm surge warning. This morning we were placed in a tornado watch that is scheduled to expire at 4 p.m., but I do anticipate that that will either be extended or another tornado watch will be issued for coastal Georgia. As this storm moves closer to us, it does have a significant tornado potential associated with it. So we are expecting tropical storm force winds starting tonight around 11 p.m. and continuing at least to the morning hours of Tuesday morning. A large portion of rain is expected to really influence the road networks throughout Chatham County starting tonight, and we are anticipating the rainfall to continue at various levels of intensity through Thursday, which is why we have issued the emergency declaration. I mentioned yesterday that we are expected to see unprecedented levels of rainfall and unprecedented flooding potential throughout Chatham County. So we have been working with our elected officials, we've been working with our public safety partners throughout the county as well as throughout the region to make sure that everybody is aware of what the conditions are. They have moved all of their response assets into places that are strategically located throughout the county to make sure that we can respond appropriately and effectively to areas in which we feel like could be potential issues. With this unprecedented rainfall, we do anticipate there are going to be areas that flood that traditionally don't flood. We've got all of the municipalities have public works representatives located in our Emergency Operations Center so we can maintain and maximize our situational awareness throughout the county. So as a community overall, I think we are prepared for this storm. All of our public safety, our public works, our elected officials, all of our partners throughout the entirety of the county are ready for this storm. So we put all preparedness measures that we can put in place are in place. Coordination efforts have been taking place since Saturday morning. We'll be wrapping up a few of those coordination efforts today, making sure that we've got everything in place. We do have several partners with us today behind me. They all showing their support for the direction of the county. And I would like to invite up our Chatham Area Transit for an announcement on CAS services.
Good morning. Currently, the plan for Chatham Area Transit is to pull all buses off of the street by 6 p.m. today. There will be no service on Tuesday or Wednesday, and that's contingent upon, of course, how the water is. Water, of course, pose major damage to our rolling stock. The same schedule is in place for our ferry service as well.
Thank you, Ms. Cutter. As I mentioned earlier, City of Savannah does have a state of emergency in effect, and Mayor Johnson would like to address some issues from the City of Savannah.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Kegler, Director Jones, and my colleagues from across Chatham County for their leadership and their support in challenging times. For us, the City of Savannah has issued a curfew that will go into effect at 10 o'clock p.m. to 6 a.m. consistent with the rest of our partners in Chatham County. This is nothing to play with. If you don't have to be on the street, then don't be on the street. If you have to go to work, if you have emergency, I mean, whatever the case may be, this curfew is not for us for a pipe dream. This is for us to make sure that as few people on the street as possible. We want to make sure that our emergency responders are as safe as possible. They have families too. We don't want to put them in danger trying to get you. And so for us, we're asking if you don't have to be on the streets. Dennis has just said at 11 o'clock, we're expecting these storms. It's been raining pretty hard. It's already some localized flooding in some areas already. And so we know over the next 11 hours, this is going to get progressively worse. So we're asking our folks to please, if you don't have to be out, don't. And then to our local businesses, we have a responsibility to keep our employees safe. You have a responsibility to keep your employees safe. So, I mean, if you just can, we're asking that you show your employees some grace by allowing them to be able to leave and get home in a safe manner. Ultimately, there's always tomorrow after this, and we have to get to that. The city has 4 sandbag locations. Yesterday, I think they were all depleted. There was a great response. I thank everyone for coming out and doing that. We will be replenishing those today. We will release the schedule as it becomes available. We're certainly very concerned about our homeless neighbors. And so the Chatham Savannah Authority for the Homeless and our partners are working through those plans to be able to provide shelter for those who want it. And so we're checking that out as well. And we're asking everyone also to make sure, we have seniors, we have those that are medically fragile in our community. We have people who are widows and widowers and those who just need somebody to call and check. We're all in this together. We're all going in together. We all have to come out of it together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The mayor mentioned about the 4 locations in the city of Savannah for sandbags. There's actually 11 locations throughout the county. Any citizen who wishes to fill some sandbags, I encourage you to get with your municipality to find out where their location is. Port Wentworth has asked me to announce that they did run out of sand yesterday. They have already replenished those sites. They've got 2 sites in Port Wentworth, so those sites are ready to go. Is that accurate? Those sites are ready to go again. So next, I'd like to invite up the mayor for the city of Pooler, Mayor Williams, to make an announcement.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to announce I am here today. I'm joined by our Chief of